Hi guys, it's your favorite book reading Ginger, and welcome to my book club. Today, or tonight, should I say, we will be discussing the first 15 chapters of A Court of Thorn and Roses by Sarah J. Maas, and I'm so excited. I got a few notes here in my little composition notebook. Remember, like back in the day when you had to have these for elementary school, and they were so ugly and they were so crappy, and I don't even know what we used them for, but for 88 cents, it's pretty good buy. And they got like cute covers now. They're not those like weird black and white staticky looking covers. I don't know what was up with that. But anyway, we're going to get into it. So we open up with Farah. She's our main character. She is hunting out in the woods and she sees this huge wolf. And she talks about how huge it is and how like big it is and that it has to be like a fairy wolf. So we learn that like their town is like right beside this wall that was built to keep their lands from the fairy lands separate. And like she's never seen fairies, but she's heard all about them as growing up and what they don't like and not to mess with them and all this. And you find out that the fairies actually used to have the humans as slaves, and then there was this big war, and that's where the wall came in. So she's hunting and she sees this really big wolf, and she like shoots it with an ash arrow. She knows they don't like ash because she's like, if it's a fairy, I'm doing the world a favor. So she shoots it and she skins it, and she goes back to her cottage home where we meet her sisters, Nesta and Elaine, and her dad. And oh my gosh, her sister Nesta is she's so mean. She's so rude to Farah, and I just don't understand why. We find out that their family used to really like have money, and now they don't. Nesta and her sister Elaine, they were like had governesses, and they were like, I guess, taught, and like when the money ran out, she didn't get that chance. So, but she's the youngest sister, and her dad's crippled. Business still gone wrong, and he's crippled, and he tries to sell these wood carvings, but doesn't really bring in much. And when her mother was like dying, she made Nesta or Farah, the youngest child, to vow to take care of the rest of the family. Why she picked the youngest one, I don't know. So when the money ran out, Farah said she just went out and she hunted, and nobody stopped her. Which, I mean, like, come on, she's your little sister. And you're just like, all right, go have fun in the woods. Hope you kill something. Not like, let us come with you or let us go. Just no. So when we find out, like, Nesta's really ugly to her. Elaine is really quiet, timid. You don't hear much about her. But Nesta, yeah, she mean. So after that, they're sitting there. They're eating their dinner. They have enough to get by with, but not enough to really, I guess, survive on. She talks about being hungry. So they're eating, and this beast just rams into their house and like I guess breaks the door down, and all I can think of is the beast from Beauty and the Beast. So that's like what I'm picturing when I see this beast that comes into her house. He wants to know who killed the wolf. Of course she did it, and he gives her the option. He's like, look, I can just kill you right here, or you can come live in the fairy lands with me. Of course, she picks to live, and her father's just like, go, you were meant for more than this, so go live your life. So she goes. She gets back to this really big mansion like home that is the beast, and he transforms into a man in front of her. We've learned that his name is Tamlin. He's a high fae. And then she also meets Lucian, which is like his emissary, and we find out that the wolf was one of his people, a member of his court that she killed. So the wolf was a fairy, and that's why he took her for payment. She killed him, so he has to take her or kill her. So he took her to live in the fairylands. So they, she has like all, she's wary of them. Obviously, she doesn't trust them. She doesn't want to eat their food. She's worried about her family. He assures her like they're safe, but if you leave, they're no longer taken care of. Like, I've taken care of them, but if you leave, it's over. So she's like, well, to keep that vow to my mother, then I have to stay. And eventually, she realizes the food's not going to harm her. She can eat. So while they're eating their first dinner, Tamlin, I guess, tries to compliment her with the worst compliment ever. He's like, your hair, it's clean. Like, that's just the worst compliment ever. Guys, don't ever do that. Don't ever tell a girl you like her hair is clean. I mean, most of us are going on day 6 of dry shampoo. That no, no. But it's very interesting. So we find out that in the fairylands there's this thing called a blight. It's this sickness that's taking over. It's diminishing their powers. Tamlin and all of his court have these masks on their face. And at first Feyre is like, is this some ridiculous fae fashion to deal with vanity? And it just turns out they were at a masquerade ball when the blight happened. So for 49 years they've had these masks stuck on their face. Tamlin's, I think, is like golden with like green emeralds. Lucian's, his is a fox. We find out it's spelled A-L-I-S, but from the pronunciation guide in the back of the book, it's pronounced Alice. She's one of the she's the maid that helps Feyre out in her room, gets her dressed and gets her clean and stuff. And she has like a bird mask on. And so let me see where we're at now. So Feyre is getting comfortable in her new home. She's smart though. She figures out like places to hide. She makes traps. She steals knives from the dinner table. She's like, I know I can't outrun you, but I don't want to face my death unaware. So you have to give her credit for that. She's not going down without a fight. So she seeks out Lucian to go riding with him. So they're riding around the border of the lands, checking things out, and they're snapping at each other. They're very witty with each other. Good conversation. And this thing called a bow comes, and it's like this. He tells her not to look at it because if you look at it, then it becomes real and it kills you, which is the weirdest thing ever. But she doesn't look at it. So after that, I feel like they have like an uneasy friendship. They really don't trust each other. But he did kind of say. He could have told Tamlin like, she looked. That stupid little human looked, and now she's dead. He could have got her killed right then and took care of her. So I don't know. They don't really like each other. I don't think they 100% trust each other. But like, there's something there. So when they tell Tamlin about the bow, he goes off. He's mad because it got so close to his lands. So he leaves to go find it, and she's waiting for him. Feyre, she's waiting for him to come back, and she's looking at the balcony, and she sees her dad sitting out there. Now, girl must not have been too smart, because your dad, who has a bad leg, did not hobble we don't even know how far away he would have to get to her. He did not come after you. He did not. So she goes out there anyway thinking it's him, that he's come for her. No. And it's not. It's a puka, I think was what it was called. And Tamlin comes last minute, saves her, and is like, no, I told you to be aware of other things out there. And obviously it was not her dad, but she thought it was. So after that, she has I think it's mentioned again, she's worried about her family, and Tamlin's like, look, I have took care of them. So she's found out she's got all this free time and she doesn't really know what to do with it. And one thing that she did not ever learn how to do was read. She can barely write. So she goes into the study, I guess, and she finds this mural while she's in there, and it's like the story of Prenith, how it is made. And Prenith is the land they live in. And it all starts with this cauldron. Now, when I think cauldron, I think witch's cauldron, got green bubblies coming out of it, cauldron, black cauldron, something the witch is going to pull that poison apple out of as she cackles. So, I don't know. That's what I'm picturing. But obviously, it didn't have green bubbles in it. Instead, it shows that, all of this came, flowing out the cauldron, and it made up the continent, I guess. And then the war, the humans were slaves for the fae people, and so the war happened, and then they built the wall, And then the humans were on one side, the Fae were on the other, and they divided their land up in territories. So we found out there's 7 territories. There's the spring, which is Tamlin, and summer, autumn, winter, dawn, day, and night. So that's, we have all these different territories. Obviously, I think it'd be cool to see something else besides, internal spring would be nice, but it'd be neat to visit these other territories for sure. So she starts messing around with Lucian, and he's telling her how to catch a Cyril, I think is how it's pronounced. Y'all gotta bear with me. I suck at pronunciation. Even with a pronunciation guide, this one was still hard for me to pronounce. But he tells her, like, how to catch it. And he sounds like, from my perspective, he sounds like he's joking. Like, he doesn't think she's seriously going to go try to catch this. But what he doesn't know, this is fair, and she's seriously going to go try to catch this thing. So he's talking about, like, you got to have some slaughtered chickens and a double, a double loop snare, and you got to find these birch trees and all this. Well, Farrah goes and does all this. So she finds the sorrel. She catches it. And she finds out that Tamlin is High Lord. He is, the Spring Court is his court. She didn't know that. How she didn't know that, I don't know. I thought it was kind of obvious, but apparently it wasn't to her. So he's High Fae, and he's High Lord of the Spring Court. And she tells, sure, I don't know if this role is a female or a male, but it tells her to stay with the High Lord and all will be righted. And it also tells her about the treaty, this other king across the sea. So that's interesting. But before she can get any more out of her, they get attacked by these Naga. And the Shirl's like, release me! And I thought, like, when she released the Shirl, it was going to help her fight. No, that bitch fled. She was out. She left Farrah alone. Was like, bye, Felicia. Good luck. She left. There was no, but Farrah did fight them. She did really good. She got, had her arrows. Farrah's got balls. She can fight. But Tamlin did in the end come and help her finish them off. He heard them and followed their track. So that was all the way to chapter 15. So next up is going to be chapters 16 through 30. My thoughts on it so far, I really like Farrah. I like Lucian. Tamlin's not been, he's been in the book, but he hasn't been around a whole lot to really get to know his character too well. There are all these courts. Are we going to see any of those courts? I think it would be really cool to see some of the other courts. I don't know if we'll get to. Also, the blight. Are we going to learn more about this poison that's coming for the fairylands? And Tamlin even mentions that it could spill over into the human lands. And speaking of human lands, are we going to see any more from Farrah's family? I don't think we will, since the book is from her point of view, but it would be nice to see, like, I don't know, like, get a letter from him or something, just to know, did Tamlin actually take care of them? Can we trust him? So that's my thoughts. I'm going to open it up to see if y'all have any questions, thoughts. Feel free to ask away, and I'm going to give y'all a minute to do that. But yeah, I did really enjoy it so far. I think it's going to be a good series. Sarah J. Maas is an amazing writer. She's even coming out with a book in 2020, so we will definitely have to check that out when it comes out. But I really enjoy this book. I think it's going to be a good book. She has 3. This is 3 with a novella. She also has a Throne of Glass. It's 7 books with additional novellas, like several. I haven't read all the novellas with it, but I did read the first 7. It was good too. She's a good writer, and I think this is going to be good. Farrah, I think, is really going to show us some interesting things as we get further into the book with her relationships. Too soon to have any ships, I think, but if you have any ships out there for this book, let me know. But I think it's too soon. I mean, like her and Lucian, I don't know, that would be kind of fun because like they're both so witty and so smart alecky. Like they would just be fun, like have fun, be fun to read with their witty comments. Um, I think that would be interesting to see. They would definitely go from like a hate to love relationship though, because I don't think they're very friendly now, especially not after he almost got her killed. But she did go willingly, so there is that. But any thoughts or questions? If you have any questions, make sure that you comment below. Would be great. If you have a book that's coming out soon or a book that you've read that you would like me to read, comment below. Let me know. I'm always looking for new books. As far as book genres go, I'm not real picky. I'll read almost anything. Just nothing too nothing too raunchy, please. I can handle a little bit, but nothing too raunchy. But yeah, if you have any comments, comment below, please. If you like this video, comment below and let me know. Give it a thumbs up and like it, subscribe it, hit the little bell to know when I'm going live again. Y'all have a wonderful Thanksgiving, however you plan it to spend, however you plan to spend it tomorrow, if friends, family. If you've got to work, I'm sorry. I remember those days. It truly sucks to have to work on holidays. But however you plan to spend it, I hope it's a great one. Thank you so much for coming by. Bye, guys. I'll see you next week. At 7 Central Standard Time, 7 p.m. on Thursdays.